Hello, good day. This video is my second video on prospect theory. In the first video, I introduced the history and basic concept of prospect theory. In this video, I will explain further how decision is made under uncertainty by using examples. I hope this will enhance students' understanding of the theory. It is useful for investment managers and investors to understand human biases when faced with risks. Let's learn together. There are 4 examples in this video. Let's learn about them one by one. Example 1. Consider the following 2 options. Option 1. A $450 guarantee amount. Option 2. A 50% probability of $1,000 and a 50% probability of 0. This means the expected value is $500. Which option would you choose? Using standard utility theory, option 2 would be the rational choice because the expected value is higher. However, having run many experiments on the choices, Kahneman and Tversky found that the dominant choice was option 1. Respondents would choose option 1. The guarantee amount of $450 rather than the higher expected value. This behavior is termed as the certainty effect, where investors exhibited risk aversion by choosing sure gains rather than probable gains. Now, let's express the options in losses. Consider the following choices. Option 1. A $450 sure loss amount. Option 2. A 50% probability of losing $1,000 and a 50% probability of 0. This means the expected value is negative $500. Which option would you choose? Well, using standard utility theory, option 1 would be the rational choice. The absolute value of the losses is lower in option 1. Well, having run many experiments on the choices, Kahneman and Tversky found that the dominant choice was option 2. Despite the fact that the expected losses is larger in option 2, respondents would prefer to take the risk rather than to accept the guaranteed losses. This behavior is termed as gambling effect. Investors take risky choices when faced with a sure loss versus a probable loss. Next, we shall move on to example 2, which is about saving lives. Let's explore further. In scenario 1, the following questions were put to a set of participants in a psychological study. If program A is adopted, 200 people will be saved. If program B is adopted, there is 1/3 probability that 600 people will be saved and a 2/3 probability that no people will be saved. Which of the 2 programs do you favor? Now, let's rephrase the scenario differently. In scenario 2, another group was faced with the same problem. but a different way of expressing the probabilities. If program C is adopted, 400 people will die. If program D is adopted, there is 1/3 probability that nobody will die and 2/3 probability that 600 people will die. Which of the two programs do you favor? How was the findings from research study? The percentage of response is highlighted in red after each question. Notice that programs A and C are identical, while program B and D are identical too. However, subjects responded quite differently. In scenario 1, most people choose program A, while in scenario 2, most people choose program D. Respondents prefer certainty to save lives and willing to take risks on the loss of life. They regarded potential gains and losses differently, even though there is no objective difference between the two scenarios. Investors' perceptions have affected their decisions. This phenomenon is termed as prospect theory. Example 3 is about how investment performance is presented and how it will influence investors. Let's learn together. Consider an investor who is given advice by two different sales representatives for the same mutual fund. The first advisor presents the fund by highlighting that the mutual fund has an average return of 10% for the last 3 years. Meanwhile, a second advisor tells the investor that the fund has above average returns over the last decade, but has been in decline for the last 3 years. If you are the investor, which presentation is more convincing to you? Would you invest in the mutual fund? Although the investor has been advised on the same mutual fund, prospect theory says that an ordinary investor is more likely to buy from the first advisor. That is, the investor is more likely to buy when the fund's rate of return is expressed in terms of gains only. Somehow, the second advisor presented the fund as having high returns but also losses. Losses represent risks and give a negative impression to investor. However, I believe that the second advisor is more complete, prudent, and transparent in his presentation. He is a better advisor. He did not mislead his clients. Finally, we come to the last example. It is about trading behavior of derivative traders. As you know, derivatives are highly risky financial instruments. How can prospect theory be used in explaining traders' behavior? Stay tuned. A trader has incurred losses in the morning trading session. How would this affect the behavior of this trader in the afternoon trading session? Will he take more risks? Will he become more risk adverse? Research findings have shown that traders in futures contract have been observed to assume significantly greater risks in afternoon sessions following morning sessions in which they have lost money. This behavior is in line with the prospect theory. When facing losses, people tend to gamble or take more risks. Finally, we have come to the end of this video. If you have benefited from this educational material, please click like, share, or subscribe. Thank you. See you and goodbye.